Here we go. Oh my gosh, not to be catty, but we have a little guest with us to start off the episode. It's Larity loafing around. Oh, another week. Here we are.
My green screen disappeared. My green screen broke.
Ari's background lore is shifting again. The green screen is gone.
Oh no, I'm naked. You can see me.
Oh no. Hello everyone, welcome back to Restitching the Tapestry. We are on episode 164. It is Thursday, July 11th, 2024. I still do not believe that it's July already. How are you feeling about that?
I'm pretty good. I was kind of loafing around because I was like, I don't really feel like doing anything right now.
That's nice though. Not doing anything is this week we've been, oh my goodness. We've been doing a lot of outdoor stuff. So, just an FYI, everybody, in Michigan, we got the remnants of Hurricane Beryl. And the day prior to it arriving, Britt and I were like, we should clean our gutters. So, we were literally up on the roof of our house, like scoop and goop out of gutters.
You're gonna get Dorothy'd. You can just like take me away.
I know. It was really disgusting, but it was really cool to be like on top of the house. We were just like, oh my god, like a little scary simultaneously, but you know, what are you gonna do? Oh my god, did I tell about the
Just singing the Munchkin song.
Did I tell you about the horrible accident I had a couple of weeks ago?
No, what happened?
Or was it last week? I think it was last week. So I came upstairs to get my checkbook for something, and I stepped the wrong way and slipped and fell down a flight of stairs.
Are you okay?
Oh, I'm okay, but like in the moment I was not. I actually thought I had to go to the ER, but
Oh my
because so like I slipped and I fell right smack in the center of my back, and then my tailbone hit each step down, and then I laid there and I couldn't get up. Like I was kind of freaking out because I could not get up. I was like, oh my god, did I damage my spine or something?
Oh my goodness.
It knocked the wind out of me, so like I needed to just, get some wind in my sails, and I was able to sail away, sail away.
That happened to me because my sister was visiting a few weeks ago, and we were at the campground, and I was in a hammock, and I tried to get up, and I slipped back on it and landed flat on my back, and I was like, and my mom like screamed. She was like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But my back hurt for a few days after that, and like I still have like it's not terrible, but every so often I'll like when I'm stretching, doing my yoga asanas during my meditation, I'll like stretch a certain way, and I'll feel a little bit of pain.
Yeah, like if I stretch back, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. That sounds horrible. If I stretch back right now, I feel bruising on my tailbone a little bit. Like it's like barely noticeable, but like for a while there, I almost needed one of those hemorrhoid pillows, let me tell you. Like, this was bad. Like, it was really
You need
painful.
to be careful. This falls in the number one death of old people.
I told my parents, and they were like, do we need to get you a life alert for Christmas? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. Note to self, do not wear socks on a carpeted stair.
Oh my god, we're getting to that age where we have to worry about falling.
Well, I managed to recapture. No, it was funny. So this contractor came like literally 1 minute after I peeled myself off from the floor. So I'm like this sad shell of a human being answering the door, and I'm like, well,
Donny.
here's the dishwasher.
Oh no, poor Donny.
It was so dramatic. But what have you been up to? What have you been doing?
So I wrote a fan fiction. I wrote a fan fiction about Studio Ghibli, about my friend Totoro. It was pretty good. I think I was very proud of it.
I love that you've been reading fanfics lately. That
Did
makes
you
me
read
happy.
it?
I have not read it yet. Did you send it to me?
No, it was on Substack.
Oh, I've not read it yet, but I will definitely go read it. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, nobody read
Oh,
it.
the last couple of days I've not been online a lot,
I was
so
writing a Godzilla fanfic about the Maui fires.
that I'm also excited about too. You know me, you can always ensnare me with a Goji fanfic.
Yeah.
Speaking of oh my god, so current event snapshot. Speaking of Godzilla, there's been so much drama in the Godzilla fandom lately. It's honestly, I shouldn't laugh, it's not funny, but like, if you've been on my YouTube channel, y'all, you probably have seen that I've been talking about it quite a bit, but um we just like I keep wanting to have these conversations about fandom life and why in fandom spaces people choose to be so terrible. Like, can we not be terrible to people? Why
It's
is it
just
so hard?
it's just like I think it's just that like it goes to the lowest common denominator. Like you have these like spaces and everybody like most of the people will be good, but then you'll get like those couple people that just like ruin it for everybody. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll get those like few people who just like ruin the mood and are
Yeah.
just awful. And so it just spoils the whole space for everybody because they're the loudest and they're the most like obnoxious. And so when you're in these like spaces like online, they're the ones who are the most aggressive and the loudest. And
Mm-hmm.
so and they're the ones that are the most persistent about like gatekeeping and like keeping people out and like making people feel unwelcome. And so they're the ones that are like actively trying to push people out of the community when
Yeah.
most people, like 99% of the people, just do not care.
Oh, absolutely. I think the thing that I think the thing that I said that riled up people is I talked about bystanders a lot. And because the thing is, like, I see so many people, if they see something horrible done or said to someone else, they just, like, they're like a willing spectator who just don't choose not to do anything about it. And I think I stepped on people's toes when I said that because that made them uncomfortable. And I was like, well, then just don't do that in the future. Like, you know?
Because I was experiencing sort of something similar with the David Lynch community because most of my experiences with the David Lynch community are on Reddit. And so
Mm-hmm.
Reddit is a genuinely awful place if you're any sort of feminine or woman because
Mm-hmm.
most of Reddit is kind of incel guys. So if you have any sort of like feminist ideas or feminist critique of David Lynch's work or any sort of like cinematic ideas that are feminist leaning, most of the men there or any sort of liberal leaning in those communities, the men just get so aggressive. And
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of the same thing with the Godzilla fandom too, because it's that cinema community. You
Mm-hmm.
have these like geeky, nerdy guys who have these like because I was watching a video today about phases of cinema nerds. So
Mm-hmm.
you have like the levels of cinema nerds, and so you get to this like idea that they're kind of like phase two cinema nerds where it's sort of like they're like the mental level of like a 15-year-old that has not progressed, and so they're very pretentious and they've taken maybe a film 101 class, and so they can spot like symbolism and certain things, but they're very like hard struck on their fandom communities, and
Mm-hmm.
so like they don't have like they're very hard struck on their ideas, and so like they don't take a lot of like outside perspectives, and so like it's very it is one way or the other, but it's one I don't want to cause any waves, but like as you get along, like what's popular is good because it's what's popular. And so like you go through the phases, like phase 6 is like I only watch like the most obscure French new wave, I've never I and that's the only valid opinion. And like go back and it's like I just really like what I like and I have a genuine opinion about these things. But
No, I love that.
um
I agree with you completely. I do think there is an evolution or like different stages to like loving or being a fan of something, right?
being a
Because
cinema nerd.
I remember being that cinema nerd where I was like this pedantic, like, oh, the cinematography in this particular scene symbolically represents,
And like that you had to like analyze every single like aspect of that thing and like analyze it to death. And like so
Yeah.
it's very interesting. We're getting into hodgepodge stuff already.
We're already. So let's quickly finish up the current event snapshot then. So honestly, like aside from that one, the other big thing that's happened recently since our last episode is the Supreme Court weighed in on Trump's immunity case, and they basically ruled and suggested that the president is immune to legality so long as the actions are exercised as an extension of their core powers, which was very concerning to a lot of people because that suggests they were insinuating that Trump's actions were essentially um, being exercised as core powers.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're done with that. I think there's gonna be more. I think there's gonna be more in the future. So I don't know. How do you feel?
I just really hate how he always gets away with it. He's just like
I know, but if it were literally any other human being, like they'd be locked up, the key would be thrown into a volcano, and
like taking papers that no okay sure whatever.
yeah. Well, this week is Hodgepodge. This is the fourth Hodgepodge episode that we have done. Ari and I, we like to do a couple Hodgepodge episodes every season. So if you're not really sure, if you don't remember what a Hodgepodge episode is, basically this is an episode where we talk about like just whatever topics that come to us. We do have some notes. There are some things that we want to discuss, and there might be some things that have like some consistency or a theme to it. But ultimately, it's just kind of meant to be like a relaxed topic night where the gravity is not too heavy, if that makes sense. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just a fun episode where we talk out our butts.
Essentially. And I'm sure some people are probably like, oh, well, they already do that. That's why we
Not
love
literally
hanging
talk out our
out.
butts, although that would be fun. We could Jim Carrey this and talk out our butts.
I honestly think that my butt is my greatest asset.
It's your greatest asset. That was a great pun, Donnie.
Oh, that was terrible. Okay, so let's like obviously June almost feels like a decade ago. Pride Month was last month. How was Pride Month for you? Did it feel different this year?
It
Similar?
was so low key.
Mm,
I felt like it just was a whisper and then it was gone. And
yeah,
I was so depressed about because we had the show, and that was like the one good thing that I like kept me anchored on Pride Month, that it was like Pride Month. I barely saw anything online about it. I
mhm.
barely it felt like people were just trying to sweep Pride Month under the rug
Yeah, that's kind of how
so
I felt
much.
too.
It felt like conservatives were just like, keep your stupid Pride Month to yourself.
Keep your Pride Month in that closet. Brr.
Didn't it feel like that the whole month? That it was just sort of like it was like
Yeah.
YouTube was suppressing content, Google was
Hmm.
suppressing content, everybody was just like suppressing as much content as possible.
Yeah, I
Like
kind of felt
Facebook was
that way
suppressing
too.
content. Did
Hi,
not
Arby.
see a whole lot of Pride stuff.
RB's here. Hope you're doing well. Oh, I changed the color of the note thingy. See, it's blue now. Oh
Ooh,
my goodness.
ooh,
Anyway,
it's it's
oh,
it's that teal color.
it's that teal color. So no, beyond going to a couple of Pride events, like I feel like Pride, as it's represented elsewhere, didn't like it wasn't very obvious or upfront to me either. So that kind of, I was like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
It was kind of just like my town had one event that I missed, and then it was like nowhere else. And I understand like we don't want corporate pride. Like I understand corporate pride is like no bueno, no good, don't want that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, disappearing from the landscape is
At the
also
same
bad.
time, I gladly take rainbow capitalism over literally nothing.
Not rainbow capitalism, but just
Corporate pride, like I would take that over literally
no,
nothing.
I don't want rainbow capitalism, but I want a recognition, not
Oh
from
yeah,
businesses, but from people, like
yeah,
people
yeah.
recognizing us as or like
Ideal.
institutions recognizing us. Like it would be nice if there was at least some pride flags out somewhere.
So speaking of this, interesting. This honestly could have been put in the current event snapshot, but so was it Tractor Supply Company was in some hot water recently because they released, I think, their new like listing of like policies, their mission, vision, values, all that jazz. They revised it to exclude diversity, equity, and inclusion. Um, and because apparently they were getting some like response from like conservative politicians and or shoppers, and of course a lot of people were really upset. They were like, you do realize that queer people shop at Tractor Supply too. There are queer farmers out there. Hello.
I think that we've gone too far the other way in that we didn't like rainbow capitalism, but now it's going the other way in that they're making it so they're appealing to conservatives now. And so,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, this is not what we wanted.
It's always like this boomerang effect of sorts. So, well, in lighter conversation, let's talk about what we've been watching lately. Have you been watching any media? Like, what has it been, and have you enjoyed it?
Um, so I watched a movie yesterday. I went to the theater because I have a theater pass. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the movies. Let's all go to the movies. I went to go see Daddy-O. It
Oh,
had
how was it?
Sean Penn and Dakota Johnson in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was about a cab ride from JFK Airport to Midtown. And that's all it is. It's just a cab ride. But it's a very memorable cab ride.
Hmm. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good movie.
Oh, I'll have to check it out. Britt and I just finished watching the latest season of, don't laugh at me, Bridgerton.
You watched Bridgerton? I want to watch it. Don't watch a lot of shows, but I was hoping I wanted to like do a little
I,
do a little digging and get Bridgerton.
Ari, I need you to watch Bridgerton. I absolutely need you to watch. It's so good that it is alarming.
I just hate Netflix now because they're just so expensive and I just feel like Netflix is evil now. Like
Can you
they've
just get
always
like a
been
free
evil.
can you just get like a free trial and like quickly binge watch it? It's like so far each season's only 8
I
episodes,
don't
so
binge watch things is my problem. I
I
don't
know.
I'm a slow I'm a little turtle. I'm a little turtle.
I see. I don't like binge watching either. We watched the recent season over like the past 4 or 5 days. Like for me, I don't know. I like to just sit with things for a while. I will say beyond Bridgerton, I've been rewatching Charmed.
You
The
always watch Charmed. That's one of your favorite
I know
shows.
I actually have not watched because so every year I will rewatch the entire Star Trek franchise and
Yes.
Charmed. Like those are like the two things that I will. And I've actually
And
not done
Buffy. And Buffy.
Buffy less frequently, but every once in a while I'll do Buffy. But usually every year it's Charmed for me, and it's been a couple years actually since I've done a Charmed watch through,
Oh
and I'm
man.
finally doing it, and I'm like, uh, I love this show.
3 by 3. Touching the book.
The power of three will set us free. Beyond that, though, I've not been
We're just a
consuming any.
couple of witchy bitches.
We are. I'm gonna go listen to some Evanescence and write in my journal book of shadows.
Put on some eyeliner.
Oh, I gotta put on some eyeliner and black nail polish first. That literally was
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
literally what I aspired to do in college. So,
Absolutely.
oh my god. So, you brought up so Ari and I obviously talk to each other outside of doing the show. Um, was it yesterday we were talking? We were talking about like captive audience media,
Oh,
and
so
I
so
was so bamboozled. So I need you to talk about that. I'm so excited.
so I saw a YouTube video about marketing and advertising and about how women get advertised to. And like, I was like, I need to talk about captive media advertising. So, the thing that was really making me upset about advertising in more modern times, because you see movies like the one the one movie where the guy puts on the glasses and he sees all of like the subliminal messaging.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think I know. I can't remember what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
But so the captive media messaging that I was seeing recently is I go to this gas station and when I pump my gas, like I'll put my credit card in at the pump, and while I'm pumping my gas, you just want silence when you're pumping your gas. You don't want to be bamboozled, like,
Uh,
bombarded by information. But at the pump, they play ads for TV shows, for products, for music videos now. And I'm like, that is such captive media marketing that and they do it for like products within the store. Like they'll talk about, and it always was like there was captive media marketing that they had like the little like billboards at the top of the pumps that you would
oh
stare at
yeah.
those, and that was captive media marketing. But it's gone to the point of where it's on the pumps now and it plays like a little pre-recorded loop as you're pumping your gas, and it does
Hmm.
it up to a certain point, but it loops. It's like on a 2 or like a 5 minute loop.
Yeah.
So if
And
you
they're
have like
so
$100,
loud.
so loud. And so if you're there like late at night, it'd be like bellowing across the parking lot. But I swear to God, like it's like they're trying to like it's like they're not even just selling you products, they're selling you values and ideas. And that's what really bothers me about this captive media marketing is like they're not even just selling you products, they're selling you music, they're selling
Hmm.
you ideas, and they're selling you and like that's just like a lot because what it is they're trying to get like earworms in your head so like that you buy like the music from that person. That's just too much for me because it's
You want
not
to know
even
one of
like
the
catchy
most?
music.
It isn't. It absolutely isn't. But one of the most interesting captive media marketing things I encountered lately was at a gas station. And so like I went to get it was like in my hometown at this new gas station. It's like state of the art, looks really great. But I like the screens on the gas pumps are like the size of my computer screen, which is kind of mind-boggling. But so like I'm pumping the gas and an ad pops up of a fountain pop, like being poured into a cup, and it was like very like ASMR with like the fizz, the liquid, the ice cracking. And before I knew it, I was waltzing my ass into the gas station to buy myself a fountain pop.
Were you really?
Yeah, and then I got out to my car and I had this moment where I was like, I've not drank pop in like a year. Like,
That's
what am I
intense.
doing? And then I was just like this, like I didn't piece it together at that time, but I was like, this was clearly an example of like that captive audience media, and I was like, I was captured.
Right. It's crazy. And like it happens at the most often times, and like the most often that we see it are like at the movies. So like you'll see it before and during the movies. Um so uh like before the movie you'll see like hints of it, like you'll get references to like, buy popcorn and buy drinks and stuff like that. But they're doing like advertisements for like things unrelated to, so like candy and other things, but like they're doing like truck commercials
Hmm.
and all sorts of things before the movie. I even bought an ad for my YouTube channel at the movie theater
Oh, I
last
remember
year
you saying that. Yeah.
for my Strange Nothings channel. I bought an advertisement. It was at the Grand Rapids movie theater, and I did a whole advertisement for the movies, and they played it twice before each of the movies. And I went to the movie theater and I got to go see it.
You should have recorded it. That would have been
I
so.
did. I
Oh
did
wait.
record it. It's on my Strange
Oh,
Nothings channel.
did I see that? I'm having deja vu. I think I asked you this too. My
But
brain.
but
Oh, Arpy. Okay, so Arpy says I want to see the new Celine Dion documentary, but I know I've not watched that yet because I know I'm gonna sob when I watch it. But
because I
anyway,
went with my
continue.
sister to go see the Barbie movie, and I recorded my ad.
That
But
is.
they didn't play the right ad. They played, it was an off week, so they played just like the water ad. They didn't play the boat ad, which is my
Oh.
favorite ad. The one that I worked hard on was the boat ad.
Oh yeah. Well, at least they did something, right?
Yeah, but they played both, and I got some subscribers from it. But the whole point of it was that I made a little movie and it showed at the movie theater, and I was like, I made a little movie.
I like that. I love that. You were
Um,
captive audience marketing.
right. But what it is they're trying to sell you things during the movies. So like, but and I was talking about like messages subliminally during movies. That's one of the questions that I said. And so the movie that I watched yesterday, Daddy-O, one of the subliminal messages during Daddy-O was that they want you to have children. That was one of the
Mm,
big things. They were talking about like family values and having children. And that was like one
mm,
of the subliminal messages of that movie. But another subliminal message that they always do is they always try to incorporate eating during the movie. If you ever watch movies, there
mhm.
always is some aspect of eating and chewing. At one point during the movie, he hands her and says, "Would you like a piece of gum?" And she starts chewing gum during that movie. And so, if you ever notice, there's always some part of the movie where they start eating or chewing during movies. I noticed it specifically during that horror movie that Jordan Peele did. I don't remember what the movie was called. It's the about the monster. It was the one with the alien movie. Remember what I was talking about from a couple years
Oh,
ago? It was really obvious in that movie.
is it the movie
Um,
where they're all quiet?
yeah, and it's like you can hear like the jingle of the keys and
A
stuff.
Quiet Place? I think that's what
It's
it's
not
called.
Quiet Place, although they do have that in that movie too. Um, oh God, now I'm gonna have to Google it.
Well, you Google it because there's something I want to talk about regarding subliminal messaging. So like I see a lot of subliminal messaging all the time in commercials, especially like car commercials. Car commercials make me so angry. Like if you watch like a truck commercial like you will see like most of the time if there's any people in the commercial, it's going to probably be a dude. And more often than not, like it's like the truck like going through like mud bogs and like dusty
Oh,
terrains. And to me the subliminal messaging is like this validates your man, like it's kind of like validating of masculinity in a way, right?
yeah.
Like if you own a truck, this will make you feel more this, which is of course I can't connect with that because that's not what I want. But anyway, what were you about to say?
So the movie was called Nope. And so
Mm.
I remember specifically watching Nope and seeing the subliminal food messaging in that movie because literally, like, they have these moments of like heightened anxiety and anticipation. And so during those heightened moments of anxiety and anticipation in those movies, they literally show somebody eating popcorn during those scenes. And so then
Mm-hmm.
I started to notice during a lot of movies is like during scenes of heightened anxiety or anticipation in movies, they'll often show people eating. And it's because when you're in the movie theater, you'll crave wanting to eat along. Because if you have empathy, you'll want to eat along with those characters. So you'll want to eat popcorn at the movies. And so what they're trying to do is sell popcorn at the movies. So the movie theater, the movies themselves put that subliminal messaging in the movies themselves in order to stimulate the viewer to want to eat during movies. That's why you feel hungry when you watch a movie.
Ooh, interesting. That's a good point. And like to a certain extent, like I feel like that could be conditioned too, because now like I'm one of those people I always have to watch something while I'm eating.
And you have to have like a snack while you watch, like, because you watch those like 3 hour epics. It's you always like feel like you have to get something to eat, and this, especially in the first like half of the movie, not necessarily the third, but like especially you think of like Lord of the Rings, a Fellowship of the
Hmm.
Rings. What are they doing in the first half of the movie? They're going to a tavern, they're having drinks, they're sitting around,
Hmm.
they're
That's a good
having
example.
food, and they're talking about second breakfast, they're talking
Hmm.
about eating, they're having meals. And even in like the movie The Hobbit, what are they doing in the first third of the movie is they're having a meal at Bilbo Baggins's house.
Oh God, right? So powerful when you think about it. So like food is one way regarding that. Like what else? Like uh attraction. I think that's another like subliminal messaging that we see a lot in, like I'm
What
thinking
is
thirst
basically selling an
traps.
idea of what the ideal body type is, what the
Hmm.
ideal, what you're supposed to look like, and what attractive is. But because it's gotten so on its head lately, because um, the with the availability, because did you see a lot of stuff about people saying that that Margot Robbie was mid in Barbie, that she wasn't as attractive, and that she was kind of mid attractive, and that she
Hmm.
wasn't very attractive, or that Florence Pugh was only mid attractive, that she's not very attractive. And the reason why they're calling these like superstar famous actresses only mid is because it's always the ugliest men that are calling these
I
women
know it's
attractive.
always
It's,
there.
it's because of the availability of porn. These hyper sexualized plastic surgery women with the
Hmm.
availability of porn online has made it so that women who are specifically attractive in the Hollywood way and not in
Hmm.
the pornographic way, which they have the
Yeah.
big tits, the big ass, the skinny stomach, the specifically like hypersexualized way, instead of just like the natural, way that I mean, not that Hollywood is normal. Hollywood has its own plastic surgery woes, but in that way that Hollywood defines beauty, and not in the porn
Hmm.
industry way that defines beauty. There's this clash of what people define as
Yeah.
beautiful now.
It's all about representation when you come down to it. Porn is also media, right?
Right.
And like you are being exposed to representation in it. And if they willfully keep it selected to a specific image, mentality, thought process, and it kind of ignoring like the fact that it there is diversity out there, like that's gonna really condition people to
expects women to look and appear certain ways in these hyper objectified
yeah. And this
debasing
happens
ways.
among gay men too, like really really bad. Like so many gay men like have like this specter of what they think is the perfect male body in their mind, and then of course that's what they then gravitate to or find most attractive, and
Mhm.
like out in the real world if they're not finding that, like what does that translate to, right?
Right.
No, that's some interesting food for thought. Media is powerful, my friends, and this the subliminal messaging can be kind of like it can be used very cleverly, but also can be kind of scary sometimes too. I don't know, that's just me.
Yeah.
So, well, so let's talk about let's see. How does money affect how you see ads in media? Are there any ads that are entertaining or are they just annoying? Um,
Can we talk about something else?
yeah. Oh, do you want to move on to a different one? We've been talking about advertising a lot.
I know. I made notes about it, but let's talk about anything else. Let's talk about books. You ever read
Oh,
any books lately?
books. I actually really haven't. I've not really read any books
Have you
lately.
been going to the library? Do you go to the library at all?
I've been in libraries, but I have not checked out a book in a long time.
So
I'm
I
terrible.
I go to library because you do P flag stuff, right?
I do. But I've read most of the books there in the past. I just haven't physically checked out a book yet.
So I love because there's a library near my apartment. So what I do is to get my walking in because I try to walk like 10,000 steps. I like walking to my local library. And so sometimes I'll check out books. I haven't been reading all of them necessarily, but I am trying to read more. Um, but what I do is I like to go to the library to do my studying for my grad work. So
Mhm.
sometimes I just like to go there and just like sit and use their Wi-Fi and just like hang out in the library, and just kind of have that be part of my daily routine. And I just really love. And I'm just can I just like talk like love letter.
Absolutely.
I just love the library. The library is just like it's just like a really comforting place. Like it's not always quiet, and there's sometimes like a lot of people there sometimes, but it's always just a place that I can go as a third place. And there's so many few third places these days where you can just go and sit and just have a fun time. And like that there is this availability of just being able to exist in public.
Mm-hmm.
And my
Yeah.
hometown has a lot of third places, which is really nice. We have the beach, but you have to buy a parking pass. But it's relatively cheap. I think it's like $20 for a year-round parking pass for local citizens.
Oh, that's not too
So
bad.
my mom buys my parking pass for me because my mom loves me. So but there are places you can park on the beach that are free. So there are places if you're a local and you know where to park, you can park for free. And I usually park in the free spaces, but it depends on if it's busy. If it's busy and there's a lot of people, I'll go park in the other places, but I like to go park down by the channel, which is free. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you go park, and um that's a third place. That's a place where you can go exist in public for free, that most other places don't have, which my sister was telling me, my local town is one of those places that's really special and that we have things that other places don't necessarily have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, I like going back to libraries, like libraries, bookstores, cafes. Like that's another place that I think of like remember the college days? Computer labs. Oh my God. Can we talk
Yes.
about how much time we would spend in computer labs in like the mid 2000s? Like
Mhm. I love just going to Barnes and Noble and watching the old people play mahjong.
yeah, the fact that I would stay in the Wolt computer lab at CMU until like 2 in the morning,
Absolutely. I
just
wrote my first
watching
book in the
clips.
computer lab.
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, I grew up in rural, like, in the country where we, like, the best we had was dial-up internet. So I literally had to wait, like, 10 years for something to load. So having access to something, I was like, oh my God, I could actually
Would
look
you
up
go get
information.
snacks from the convenience store next door and then
I would
just
always
sit
get a
with them?
Bosco stick.
I would always get like Bosco sticks or like some chips and like a soda or something. And I would sit in that lab and I would just sit there for like 12 hours at a time and just like goof around. There's always enough computers for everybody in there.
Right. RP says, I could live in a library or a bookstore. I honestly could too.
Yeah.
Honestly could too. I've not been to the local library here where I live yet. I should go. I'm gonna make that my mission.
Yeah. Hang out in your library, see what you can find. Do you know
I
they have a thing called the Library of Things now?
what?
So you can rent like tents or like puzzles or like all kinds of crazy stuff from your life. You can rent artwork.
Oh,
Yeah, you can rent artwork for like 3 months at a time.
I didn't know this. This is kind of cool.
So you should check out and see if your local library has a library of things that you can look at. And usually, if it's like in an interlibrary system, though, you can borrow it from like another library, and they'll send it to your library, and like you
Yeah.
can rent out stuff from because my local area district has a library of things, and I was like looking online to see what I could rent. There was like an 8-person tent. They said you have to do it quick because it fills up for the summer, like the 8-person tent, or the dartboard, or the lawn games or something like cornhole and stuff.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So, branching off from libraries, one of my goals is to have kind of a library in my house. Like we have books like
I think
scattered
if you
throughout
have
the
at least
house.
150 books at your house, you have a library.
We have over 300 books, I think, something
Then you have a
thereabouts.
library.
We have a damn library. So like
Yeah.
my goal is to have one of those one of those little public like street corner libraries, and what are
Like
they
a little
called?
free library.
Yeah, like one of those like little free libraries on like our street corner where we can like exchange books. Oh, that'd be
So what you do is you go on the app and you register. You just put the little free. All you need basically is like a plastic bookshelf container and just a place to put the books. But if you want to build like a bird house or something, or like a little book,
Ari, we're a couple of gays. You know we're gonna do it up.
but what you do is you register with Little Free Library and they send you a number to put on your like a book plate to put on your
Oh,
Little Free Library, so people can check into the app and tell you how your Little Free Library is and like sign in.
that is really cool. I did not know it could be that elaborate.
Yeah, because then they can find your library and come visit you, and they can drop books off and stuff.
I love that. So, I'm in the process of cataloging our books in our house because I have one of those little scanner things, and I'm uploading everything to libib.com.
Yeah,
I am like, that's been so fun. I've had so much fun doing that.
but
So,
if you download the app, you can search for little free libraries in your area, and you can go visit them and check in, and you can write little messages to the person owning the Little Free Library.
that's another thing I love a lot. Like just writing messages to people. Do you like one thing I really miss, and we need to get into the habit of this. Like Ari and I used to send like this journal back and forth to each other. We need to do that again because I miss it.
Did I tell you I just started doing that? I met some women on Reddit who were doing a group journal, and we were sending it back and forth. They were in California, and so a couple of ladies did it in California, sent it to me, and I just sent it off to another lady in Florida.
Oh my God, I love that. A
Yeah.
traveling journal. No, like, so I think things like that are just really, really fun to do. Like, just small, like, creative things. Another thing that I want to do, I have so many journals. I could easily do this with any vacant journal I have. So we went to a birthday party recently, and one of our friends brought a Polaroid camera, which are getting popular again.
Yes, they
And
are.
I have this goal at some point of doing a journal where, like, every day of the year I take a Polaroid photo and I like put it
Can I
in the
show you something
journal.
really quick? Can I show you something really
Yes. While you're finding it, I want to take this, like, these Polaroid photos, one that I take every single day for an entire year, paste them in a journal, maybe do a little bit of writing about each day. And then I have like this, like, just not only like written journal but visual of like each day of that particular year. And I think that would be so fun to do. That would be so cool.
I have a photo printer.
Oh,
It hooks up to SD card and to my phone. And so I can print pictures on either four square or two square, or I can just print the whole picture itself.
oh
But I bought a
my
photo
god.
printer because I like taking pictures. So if you don't want to take Polaroids, you can take pictures with your phone and just print them off. But it only costs like $60.
Why not both?
Yeah.
Wink, wink. No, see, I love things like that. I think part of my issue, so like, let's talk about hobbies for a second. So, and you can probably relate with me. I have so many damn hobbies. And aside from writing, I feel like I don't see any of the other things through. Like, I might start them or like be like, this is really cool. And I never like get through them. Like, junk journaling was one of those things. Like, I got really obsessed
Yeah.
with, I hyper fixated on junk journaling, but I never got into it enough where I actually made things. Um,
But I
but like,
did. I hyper fixated on it for like 6 months. And remember, I made you that Godzilla journal.
I know I still have it up here, and I think that might be my photo journal for a year. That might be the one. That's actually a good episode idea. Hyperfixations. But no, like, so, I do have like this. I have like this basket in my closet where I have like postcards that I've gotten. I have like ribbons. I have like so much stuff that I want to put in like scrapbooking. I want to do scrapbooking, and I've not done that yet. So I have so much stuff. Like, I want to do so many creative things, but I never see them through. And I think that 2025 is going to be the year where I start seeing shit through.
Next year.
I'm going to
No,
start now. We're barely halfway through.
the thing about it is it's about motivation. You would do those things if you were motivated to do them. The thing
Yeah.
about it is you like it's the what's it called? Uh the life-changing magic of tidying up. You buy those things because they give you emotional fulfillment in the moment. That you have this aspirational feeling of wanting to do those things, and it fulfills you for that moment. You have those things, but the thing about it is that you get that emotional giddiness of purchasing those things, but you actually don't want to do the thing because that's a time investment, and maybe
Yeah.
you don't have the time or energy necessary in order to do those things, or the effort in order to do those things. It's aspirational, but also at the same time, you don't want to put the effort into actually doing the thing that you want to do because
No, I
it just
totally
takes
get that.
it just takes too much time. But what you do is you buy those things because you're like, that seems like somebody I want to be. That's somebody who I want to be. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like buying books as a status symbol. A lot of people buy books because they like having you see those booktubers, they say, oh, I bought 50 books, but they don't read those books. They just get rid of them
It's for
because
the decoration.
they're not just reading those books. They want to look like they're a person who reads books.
Interesting, right? I think that's very interesting. I found that my issue with not only reading as well, like, so I would love to read more. My issue always comes back down to bandwidth
It's
because
bandwidth and time.
like bandwidth wise, like because like for school I spend so much time reading. So like by the
Mhm.
time I'm home, I don't even want to look at text. I don't even want to
But
look
the
at a
thing about it
document.
is, you can do it. The thing about it is that you're thinking about reading hard fiction. So what
Mm-hmm.
it is, think about listening to audiobooks, because those are easy. Or listening, or listening or watching, having because when it's being read to you, you could do it while you're cooking, and that's very, or reading graphic novels. Graphic
Mm-hmm.
novels, you're looking at pictures, and it's not very like difficult. Or doing something like reading fiction that's not very hard, like middle grade fiction. So
Yeah.
reading like Hunger Games type style books that are like of of a reading level that's less difficult and less hard to read, because you could read a lot in a little amount of time. And like when you read, only spending like maybe 10-15 minutes, like maybe say like I'm going to read 15 pages today, or I'm going to read 20 pages today, and then that be it, and only just doing like little amounts.
That's a really good idea. No, and the funny thing is, I always give this advice to students, but do I do it myself? I sure
um
don't.
I'm doing it for myself. I started reading again. I got into a slump in June, but then I started reading again. I started picking up an easy book, which is called Legends and Lattes, and I read about 100 pages of that. And then I read another 100 pages of that, and I'm about maybe 100 pages from being done. So I was actually going to read that tonight.
Hmm.
But I picked up some audiobooks from the library, and I was going to have that be read to me. And it was kind of an entry story about Washington, D.C. It's The Devil in the White City. That's a 14-hour book, and I was thinking about having that playing while I slept.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah. So,
But
well,
I don't know if
we
that's actually listening to it if I'm listening to it while I'm sleepy.
so let's talk about like we have about 9 minutes left. So let's talk about some like random things. Like, what has been the most irritating thing you've experienced lately?
Ooh, I I think my internet has been the most irritating thing recently. I'm lagging right now. Um, so my internet is tied to my housing company, and I just had to switch over. And so my internet keeps going out during the daytime. And it's been very irritating because, we pay money to our housing company. We expect good, solid internet. I never had internet problems before this, really. Like, I went with Verizon, and I never had any problems with it. But now my internet will go out for a day or two, and they're just kind of like,
Oh, I would be a Karen. Oh my
my
goodness.
sister is being a Karen about it. She's really angry.
As she should be. Like I know like for like we had a chipmunk chew our internet like cable outside, and it took AT&T like 5 days to fix it. And I literally was on the phone with them every day. I'm like, "Hey, you fix it coming out yet? What's going on?" Like, "Hey."
That was a while ago now, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a while ago, but thankfully it got resolved. But the
Yeah.
most irritating thing for me lately, ooh. So these are like stupid things. These are completely dumb.
I love hearing about stupid things that irritate you.
The first thing is driving. Driving pisses me off. Like, I.
Can we just about teleportation already?
So the other day, that would be great if we had teleportation. The other day, I literally almost had a meltdown because I was running late. Like not a road rage meltdown, but like I almost like started crying because I was so frustrated. So like we are like I'm trying to get someplace because I was already late for something. And this person whose house was on like this main thoroughfare stopped stopped traffic to back up into their driveway. Stop, complete, and it took them 2 minutes because they had to like shimmy and wiggle. Why are you backing into your driveway on a main thoroughfare? What are you doing?
I would have just turned my music up and started belting.
Ari, I like the utter rage that was in my body at that
I
moment.
just don't get mad about stuff like that anymore.
Well, like, so part of me, like, I don't know, like, sometimes I like the fact that my car is, like, my little private space where I can be angry. I can be, like, profane, like, ah, you know? But I was just I was so mad at that. And then the other thing.
It's totally valid. You are valid in your feelings of rage. You deserve.
Thank you.
You're allowed to feel angry.
As long
about
as one doesn't act on their rage, that's all that matters, right?
Absolutely. You're allowed to scream and swear and punch your wheel and be angry about it.
When I'm driving, the thing I do is I'll be like at people, I'll be like, I'll have like one hand on the wheel, so I'll be like,
I need a screenshot for the episode of you just doing that.
I'm just like, and then people turning into driveways or parking lots too slowly drives me nuts. And I have places to be, missions to be on, you know? So the only other irritating thing, I mean, I hate shopping. I really hate shopping. Because
I hate shopping too.
Driving a cart around in a store is like driving on an actual road to me, where people are like just stopped in the middle of the aisle, like gossip hour in the middle of the aisle.
I love shopping. I love going to the grocery store. I love chatting with people. Because my community is just so sweet. Sometimes I like putting on my headphones. Have you ever tried putting on headphones and listening to music at the grocery store?
No, but I think I should.
Because Meijer has free Wi-Fi, and you can listen to music while you're at the grocery store. And guess what? You don't hear a single person. You're just in your own world, vibing out, picking up oranges, going. Could you imagine listening to Charlie XCX while listening to Brat music while you're picking up your apples?
I would be like popping a squat on the floor, doing a split, doing a death drop. RP, somebody replied to, what do you mean? What do you mean somebody replied to your comment? Like in the chat? I don't see any homophobic comment. But, so what has been the most enduring or exciting thing that you've experienced lately? The fact that we were so quick to come up with irritating things, but now we're like,
well, but the thing about it is there's a lot of really good stuff happening in my life lately. So I'm not sure exactly, so the fact is I have only a couple more semesters until I'm done with my grad degree. Like, that's an exciting thing that's happening.
You're gonna have a master's.
And the fact that I'm about to, I bought my train ticket from Grand Rapids to Chicago for my flight to Paris. I bought that this month. So all my parents have to do is just drive me to Grand Rapids, and I just get on the train, and then I go to Chicago, and then I'm just going to take a taxi to the airport.
That is going to be so exciting. I am so excited for you.
And I'm in premium economy class on my flight, so I'm really excited.
Ooh. I'm going to Chicago this weekend for G-Fest. I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah. Pretty excited. That's gonna be
You're going to G-Fest?
Yeah.
Despite all the problems, you're going to G-Fest?
I'm kind of like, am I gonna get any haters at G-Fest? Let's see. I'm on a panel, actually. I'm on the Kaiju Writers panel.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm pretty excited to nerd out with some other writers about Godzilla stuff, so that's going to be fun.
Be careful while you're there.
Oh, I will, for sure. I'll bring a stiletto with me. That'll protect me.
Bring a nail file. Be like...
What other exciting things have been happening? I have not given a garden update in forever.
Give me a garden update.
So between my up at my parents' and my house, we have 50 tomato plants planted. The tomatoes are now taller than me,
My
which
mom
doesn't.
was looking at her tomatoes and they were looking really good too. I'm so excited. Global warming is doing at least some good things.
I mean, if we're extremely optimistic, we can look at the tomato growth.
Another really exciting thing is I got my CPAP today.
Woo! Sleep health is important, everyone. Sleep health is important. I don't think we really take that into consideration a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, and my cholesterol dropped 18 points.
that's good.
I got my cholesterol tested yesterday and it was because it was high. It was at 233 before at the end of April, at like the beginning of May, and now it's 217.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. My friends, per the usual, this has been a great conversation. I love Hodgepodge episodes. They're kind of zen. They're very feng shui to me. Um, Ari, do you have any parting words for everyone today?
Go to your local library, get some books.
Woo! Support your libraries because libraries matter. We love them. Anyway, we love you all. We hope that you have a good rest of your night, and we will be here again next Thursday, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.